Welcome, golf fans, pursuers of knowledge and the almighty dollar. This is your golf guru bringing you the 2022 Masters Tournament. This is my Before the Lock show. Everything that you are going to need before making those final DFS decisions or maybe some last bets. First off and foremost, thank you for stopping by. And if it's the first time you're checking me out, give me about 20-30 minutes. I think you'll like what I do and also hopefully give you an edge to put a few more dollars in your pocket. With that said, we got a lot to cover. I'm going to go over ownership projection. I'm going to tell you who the best win players are from the analysis and from my own perception. We're going to go over the weather and everything else that, of course, has been going on. Okay, with that said, let's talk some golf. Real quickly, a little bit of a house cleaning item. Of course, still promoting PrizePicks, and if you guys have not checked it out, this is an over-under projection site. Of course, I'm focusing on golf, and I put out my picks yesterday, but I'm going to show them to you real quick again. And I'm still got the ability to get you guys a free $100. If you put $100 in, they are still matching up to 100%. All you need to do is log in. First time, put your information in and put in the promo code Golf Guru and make your picks. And of course, again, you are trying to pick the over or under for all kinds of different stats. It could be birdies or better, first round scoring, how they do on aim and corner, you name it, they've got it. So with that said, what I went with for round one is, as we know, we're going to have some weather. And also some of these guys maybe haven't been the best of form. So I took Jordan Spieth. They got him at 70.5. So if he shoots a 71, we're good there. Of course, Bryson DeChambeau, he's still fighting the injury. He's been all over the lot. And they got him at 72.5. So we need him to shoot a 73. Now, Tiger Woods, funny enough, earlier in the week, I should have grabbed this, but he wasn't even, at that time looking like, not early in the week, I'm talking almost last week. I didn't think he would probably play. They had him at 74.5. I got him at 73.5. I will take the under. Of course, he's got a morning-ish tee time. I think he tees off around 10:30. And then Tony Finau, again, just struggling with the putter. Typically does well at this course. And also is a good win player, which we'll talk about. I've got him over 71. So that's where mine came in. Of course, you guys can make your own decisions. There's all different ways to do it, but that's who I like. All right, so I grabbed this off of the Golf Channel last night. I thought it was interesting because I've been talking about this. And this is all about Jon Rahm and his struggles as of late with the putting and around the green. And when I saw this kind of statistics put up, I thought it was kind of interesting. So 2015 and 16, he didn't actually have enough rounds to really qualify. But just so you can see, this is what he was at. And then you can see right now where he falls under the 21-22 season. Around the green, he's ranked 170th. They only keep stats for pretty much around 200 players, sometimes at 225. And then stroke gain putting is at 136. Now, if you hear Jon Rahm talking, I agree a little bit with it, that he's been hitting his irons so well that he's had a lot of opportunities within 10 feet, 15 feet, and he's missed them, which then kind of crushes your stroke gain putting stats. But also, I think it's a little bit of the change he made, probably from a commercial reason. He did go back to his older kind of mallet half-round putter. I believe that was for a WGC match play. And did well, did better. My own perception on this is I think he, of course, as we all know, like a Terrell Hatton or a Thomas Peters, he can get fiery pretty quickly. He's gotten better at it. But when you hit so many close shots and you keep missing putts, it does get under your skin. And that does seem to show with Rahm. So if he makes a few putts early, I think, he could be good to go. Of course, he could flip the switch at any time. I'm just giving you this information. This is why I'm struggling from a one-and-done perspective. I wanted to play Jon Rahm for the Masters. That's who I was kind of keen on to start the year. And right now, I'm still on the fence. So with that said, I just want to get you guys the information. You can look at these stats, but the key one to know is, if you look at overall against the PGA total field, this is where he's coming in. All right, so next to Tiger Woods being touted and all the kind of the coverage on that, the other thing has been the weather, right? And of course, they just shut down the practice range again here on Wednesday. Hopefully they'll get the par 3 contest in, but it sounds like Tiger got out this morning, got his work in. But anyways, there, and we're going to talk about weather deeper, but I just wanted to show you this graphic real quick. Of course, this is the course. This is pointing north, and the winds that they're going to be dealing with for sure on Thursday is a strong west wind, about 15, could gust up to 25, but I put 50 to 20. So there is some wind they're going to be dealing with everything else. Hopefully with the sub-air, they'll be able to get the course dried out. Hopefully they don't get too much rain today. The greens for sure, I know, but I think they try to, with the wind and what they have coming, hopefully is 4 days of sunny. I think they're going to have to really kind of monitor. They don't want to get them too fast. All the guys were saying that they were super fast in practice rounds, and that was because they knew this weather was coming. So I think they were trying to anticipate, 2 days of heavy rain. But I am going to go over, with that said, the win players. So let's do that, and then we'll go jump into ownership projections, and we'll take a quick look at the weather and tell you guys where to go check out Win Finder, especially if you're going to play Showdown this weekend. All right, so some of the best win players by stats. And what I did notice was the players, for whatever reason, through Fantasy National was not included. So we're going to keep that in the back of our mind. But if you look at just the last 4 rounds, and this is considering windy AF, windy as can be, like 20 to 40 mile hour gusts. This isn't like 10, 15. This is really strong wind. And so there's not a ton of events that they play in this. And actually, I just took a look to see what these 4 rounds were pulling. It was pulling up the last day of the Amex, and then it's going back to the Northern Trust, where, hence Tony Finau won. And there was 2 rounds of the Northern Trust. So I just want to give you that foresight. Of course, they played in some wind. I mean, if you think about the Honda, if you think about Arnold Palmer, if you think about the players. But to get in that category of windy AF, which again is as bleep, it's got to be pretty crazy windy. So if you want to know who comes up from a statistical, this is just pulling up a straight stroke gain model. So total strokes gain, tee to green, ball striking, short game off the tee, approach, around the green, putting, and then this is DraftKings points, which has never made sense to me how they calculate that. So don't worry about that. The number 1 guy, which makes sense to me, is Tony Finau, right? He's typically very accurate off tee. He hits a very heavy low ball, and so that makes sense. John Rahm, typically one of the best drivers of the golf ball. And again, I'm just talking about off the tee right now. Shows up there. Cam Smith, of course, an Australian. Louis Oosthuizen, usually very accurate. Will Z, funny enough, he only has 8 rounds total that he's ever played in crazy wind conditions, but being a Texan and also very good off the tee, he rates very highly. Of course, Patrick Reed, we always, if you've been watching golf a long time and doing DFS, typically we kind of think of him as a mutter, a guy that can play in those kind of conditions, but his game hasn't been exactly there. You got another Australian, Adam Scott. You got Seamus Power, who played a lot of golf in Europe. Of course, is from, I believe, Ireland. Could be Scotland. I could have messed that up. I think it's Ireland. Right? Because him, Rory, and Lowry, I think, played some practice rounds. They're friends. Tom Hoagie has just been elite, tee to green. Of course, Hideki, another great ball striker. I thought it was odd JJ Spawn popped up, but, typically keeps it very in the play. Same with M and List. And then Freddie Couples, I have no idea how long where that's pulling from. But neither here, that gives you 4 rounds. So that's the most recent crazy win rounds these guys have played in. Somehow, again, excluding the players. I also want to take a couple larger samples for you. So there's that 8 rounds. Will Z's number 1. Tommy Fleetwood was the guy that I think of, right? Of course, him and Shane Lowry. And I'm going to give you guys my, I don't know what it is, best 8 guys I think who can play in the wind. But, of course, Tommy at Royal St. George's at that Open where there was crazy weather. Of course, Lowry won it. Tommy Fleetwood was right there with him in the last group. Abraham Answer, very accurate typically off the tee. Cantlay, again, some of the same guys. Russ Henley was interesting to me that he popped up. Harris English, funny enough, he's not in this field because of the hip injury. Does play really well, but he is a very good ball striker the last couple of years. Seamus Power, and then Max Homa pops up down there, who I think personally is a really good weather player. Again, if you know the flight that he plays and can play, it makes total sense. And then I took 12 rounds, so it's taking a larger sample. Finau pops right back up to the top. Then you get Lowry in there. Of course, it's probably pulling in that British Open. Cantlay, Will Z. Again, I told you about Harris English, Rahm, Smith. So a lot of the same guys. Rory pops back in. He hits a very Rory hits a very high ball flight, which can tend with his irons. He can get it very high there. I'm not saying he can't flight the ball down. I think JT is very interesting, right? We saw just recently what he could do at the Players, shaping the balls. He actually had one of the better rounds. And I'm going to forget, there was another guy that had got no real coverage for it, but it was, I believe, JT, who had no bogeys that day. And I'm blanking. There was one other guy. If I think of it, I will put it out there for you. Bobby Mack, of course, played a lot of golf in Europe. And then Koepka, right? I mean, he cut his teeth on the European tour and hits a very strong, usually pretty decent ball. And then Henley, pops up again. And again, that's taking 12 rounds. So again, remember, that's not like the last 3 tournaments. That's, hey, 1 round at the Amex, 1 round at the Northern Trust. If you think of John Rahm when he played, oh boy, I think it was the Memorial, but it was the Workday one, I think. I get him confused. He shot way under on the Sunday where everybody else kind of struggled. So again, this was a while ago. It's about 2 years ago, but again, makes sense. All right. So here's the guys that I like to play when I see there's going to be wet, windy conditions. Number one, Shane Lowry. Of course, like I said, one of the best performances I've ever had. Well, my largest hit in DFS was when he won the Open. I was all over him because I found out some information, and not saying it was super secret, but that what he won an amateur at that same course. Of course, he was local, all that stuff, but that's what kind of pinged me. But at that time, really nobody was on Lowry. I think he was less than like 7% owned, something like that. It was really low for the Open there. Of course, Finau, I agree with that. Of course, the putting is a whole different story. But if you want a guy with his ball flight and can typically handle the windy conditions from tee to green, I like Tony. Of course, Fleetwood. Again, some of these are not going to be shockers, but if you are newer to playing DFS and the Masters is here and you want to try it out, I'm giving you guys some information you might not know. Of course, Leishman's in Australia. Now, his game hasn't been to, where I would like to see it, but he had a good outing here last year. But typically, it's the putter right now with Leishman that has not been up there. Tee to green, been okay. But Leishman can definitely handle the wind being an Australian. Right there's Cam Smith to follow him. Of course, he won the Players, but he had a little bit of luck of the draw regarding how his tee times went. There's my Max Homa. I already mentioned, his ball flight. He hits a heavy ball. I like him. Of course, Scotty Scheffler, Texan. So he didn't come up, but I look at the analytics, he one time gains over a stroke and a half against the field under windy AF as beep. JT, I put him in there, like I said, because I really liked what I saw at the Players. I feel like he's real comfortable. He's got that kind of choke down. He can hit the low stinger hook. He can hit the low stinger fade. So he's got all the shots there. So I'm good with that. And then Joaquin Niemann. I don't think he popped up here, but I know Joaquin's ball flight. He hits it a real low and just can crush it. So those are the guys, if I'm thinking about Thursday, Friday, what we got coming, these are the guys I want to play. So with that said, let's go look at ownership projections and weather. Okay, since we're on the weather topic, let's knock that out, and then we'll go do ownership projections. And I also want to note Gary Woodland also hits a really good low heavy ball. So as another person you could think of, he didn't get on there, but I just wanted to throw that out. It just popped in my brain. All right, so if you're using Windfinder, I highly recommend it. Again, if you're newer to this, especially if you're going to try to play some Showdown, you're going to want to see the weather breakdown, and you're going to want to pull up Daniel Field Airport. This is where the guys fly the G6s, the private jets into. It's the closest location you're going to find to Augusta National. And I'm going to go with super forecast, which just means it breaks it down by hour. And we're going to skip through Wednesday. We know it's raining right now there. Let's go to Thursday. So, tee time starting at 8 o'clock. Could still be maybe a trickle of rain, it's saying. But this is what we want to look at, is the gust. So wind gust up to, you're going to see a 21, a 24, 23. So as typical the afternoon, it could get a little more windier, but a steady about 10-mile-an-hour wind, but gusting up to. And it's out of the west. So, it's going to be interesting, right? It's going to be, we'll see how that all works out for these guys, especially if those fairways stay wet. It's going to be a rough opening day. And then we go take a look at Friday. Good news is we're going to have a lot of sun, but what that wind's bringing in is some cold air. You can see that high of 63, which is, I don't know, I would have to guess in Georgia at this time is a little chilly. I think they've been in the 70s, 80s before this kind of colder fronts moving in. But this is what's even crazier. On Friday, it's stating that, again, you're looking at a steady, I don't know, we had to kind of round that out. We'll say 14, 15 mile an hour steady wind, but could possibly blow up to 30. That's when you get to the windy AF. Like, I feel like if it's 20, that's moderate. I mean, it's windy, but it's moderate. Once you get over in the 20s, that is going to affect the golf ball. And now you're going to be always trying to figure out which clubs to hit, how to play it, trying to keep it below the trees. There's times that the guys aren't going to feel the wind as strong as it is. So all that said, that is your weather report for Thursday, Friday. And then while we're here, I can do this and we can go look at Saturday, Sunday, just to see what they're saying. Saturday looks like the same thing right now. They're predicting, in the 20s, averaging around 10 to 15. And then Sunday, finally, funny enough, we're going to get a little bit calmer weather, sunny, a little cooler, especially if you're teeing off in the morning. Wow, 39 at 8 a.m. is what they're stating right now. But again, the key of this is use Windfinder, pull up Daniel Field Airport, and you'll be good to go. Because like I said, as we all know, weather switches. But right now I'm preparing and built my teams, not all of them, but built my teams with this knowledge in mind. Okay, so we're going to jump over to Fantasy National, and we are going to take a look at ownership, and we have a lot of lineups generated. What does this mean? Again, if you don't know, as I use Fantasy National, you can pick your player pool, and you can do mass entries, of course. So you will extract it, and then you can pump it into DraftKings. And what I'm seeing here is almost 26,000 of those lineups have been created. So that's a great sample for us to understand. And what kind of shocked me, to be honest, was right now it's saying that Brooks Koepka is going to be the highest owned player at almost 21%. I always say give that 1 to 2% up or down when you actually see what bakes out, and when it gets to DraftKings. Of course, not everybody is using this tool to do put their entries in. So who knows? I think it's funny here. It also says if Tiger Woods is in the field, you could add 5 to 10 points either way. So we'll see how that all bakes out. But I want to just give you guys to know, if you're trying to differentiate, figure out maybe some guys that you're on the fence of playing on, you can see the ownership, at least what it's looking like. And usually coming out of Fantasy National, it's pretty accurate. All right, so JT is your next at 17.7, followed by Corey Connors, Fitzpatrick. I guess some people probably from the wind and conditions. I mean, Fitzpatrick's been playing good golf, pretty good history here, but I bet you maybe the wind might have something to do with it. I didn't put him on my all team. He doesn't show up, and funny enough, if I remember off the top of my head, his stats aren't awesome. It's not like amazing when it's crazy windy, but we just think of him as a mutter. And I agree with it that I think, he's usually very accurate and a good short game and a good putter. Those are the guys that you want when the wind and the rain comes. And you can see it. I mean, you can watch Matthew Fitzpatrick. There has been some tournaments that we watch where once the weather comes, it seems like Fitzpatrick kind of moves up the board where other guys fall back. Siwoo Kim, that's interesting at 17%. I say that just because, I like Siwoo Kim, but I'm not that high on him. John Rahm is next. Henley, that's interesting that he's that high. We got Will Z, Bobby Mack, Cam Smith, Neiman, Schauffele, Spieth, Lowry. I'm just going to kind of go through these for you guys. Scott. And if you see it highlighted, these are my picks. Burnsley, I really like. I don't know. This is just a total little side note, but if you saw the press release with Scotty Scheffler, they played quite a few practice rounds and were betting of some sort. It could be for a beer, a lunch. I'm not sure what the bet was, but he just kept saying Burns was kicking his butt. So, I mean, I'm not saying that means anything, but I do like Sam Burns. And he did state that he came here and did a little scouting mission, if I remember correctly, beforehand. And I think he even came here, as more of a patron, as a fan, back when he was younger. I think 2011 or something like that, he stated. All right, so DJ at 12, Cantlay, Hatton. I like Young. He hits a heavy ball. I think from a rookie perspective, the guys I think I mentioned already, I like Burns and Young. Of course, you got Rory. There's Woodland, Homa. It's funny because a lot of people don't like Homa because of what his major record is, but I will state that I think his game is in an amazing spot, and he should have the ability to win majors. I mean, he's won at the toughest venues on the PGA tournament or tour, and so that should translate over to a win. I'm shocked Finau the way he's been golfing, but again, his past history, and of course, if you take weather in effect, you got Scheffler, Hovland, Brian Harmon's interest to me. Of course, the lefty had a good showing here last year. There's Fleetwood again. I'm guessing some of this is weather. Paul Casey, he hits a really strong ball striking ball, so he could be a good play in the win. Webb Simpson, I want nothing to do with, so we'll see how that all works. Thomas Peters, already mentioned, I bet him. Luke List, good ball striker. Let's flip this around and see who's the least owned for you guys. So, of course, the guys that are lifetimers that won the Masters are going to be the lowest. This guy right here, James Piot, I got to mention him. He's from Farmington Hills, Canton, Michigan area. He's done a ton of great things. Of course, he's an amateur here, and he plays at Michigan State. He won the USAM, hence how he's here. I'm not expecting him to do anything. I just wanted to mention him because he is a Michigan guy, and I think he's one of the first Michigan guys to win the USAM ever. So just shout out to James Piot. Hopefully you make the cut, man. All right, Minwoo Lee. You got, of course, Harris English not in here longer. I think Padre Harrington. I'll let you guys know right now. I'm going to plug him in some DFS lineups, especially my weather lineups. You know, you got to remember he had a good showing right at Kiowa. I don't know. That's why he's in the field, right? He top fived. You can call it a backdoor, but he did top five for the PGA Championship when Phil won this past summer, previous summer. Guido Migliozzi, I mean, he's just been terrible. I guarantee you, if somehow he, you know, funny enough, when he showed up here for a couple majors, he did well. You know, if you want super differentiation, plug in a couple of Guidos, and if he does well, you're gonna be up there because no one's gonna have that guy. The Stuart Hagstead, he's a mid amateur, and it was I don't know 2-3 years ago that he did well. I know he made the cut. Of course, we got Takumi, who showed up at the WGC. Harry Higgs, he also, I believe it was the PGA Championship, was up there kind of backdoor like Padre, how he got in the field. Schwartzel, lifetimer. Zach Johnson, lifetimer. Funny enough, everybody is like, I think it was what? Zach Johnson won in 2011. Don't quote me on that. Or 2007. It was a long time ago. But the weather was crazy. And he ended up, you know, they say because of that, ended up having a good. So people are talking about playing him. Of course, JJ Spawn, right? I believe he's one of the first guys off. So if you want to think about, you know, the AM PM splits, I will always go with the early tee times when it comes to wind. Swafford, right, had some wins, of course, on coastal courses, so I think I plugged him in here or there. Molinari, you know, very short and accurate, had a, you know, of course, that run with Tiger won at 2019. Glover, a great ball striker. Lee Westwood, funny enough, being a European, his data does not come out very well at all in heavy wind conditions. So Danny Willett, also, if I remember correctly, when he won the Masters, weather was a bit of a reason on that. I'm just trying to see. Cameron Davis is an Australian, but his game has just been bad. But he has done okay in windy conditions. But, you know, you got to look at more of what has he been doing, period, with his golf game. Lucas Herbert, of course, won the Bermuda this year, how he's in the field. He's also European, played a ton of European golf, just kind of made the transition to the PGA Tour. Matsuyama is so low owned because I think everybody, which I get, is terrified of that neck injury. I think the Valero he pulled out because it was bothering him just enough to where he said, you know what, this is not important to me as much as I want to go defend. So again, if you want differentiation, you can look for Mats. Kevin Kisner, right, local Georgia guy. You got a lot of the Bulldogs in this field. Of course, Harris English is not playing. Kisner, Sub Straka. You know, he did well at the Honda. You could think about playing him in the weather. Kokrak's just been a, you know, not that great of form, but remember his win at Shadow Creek, almost a doppelganger of Augusta National, and gained 10 strokes on very fast bent greens. Garcia's missed the last few cuts here at the Masters, so that's got a lot of people off him. But of course, he won it the year before that, and you know, been hitting the ball pretty well. His irons have been off, and you're always terrified of the putter. Cameron Champ, right? I was all over him. Well, not all over him, but I really liked him for the Valero, right? That's his home practice course. He hits a low, heavy ball. Also could be a very good win player and has made the cut both times here and pretty decent. So someone that I might, you know, I have not plugged him in, but I might have to think about that. The Gooch, great ball striker, right? One at RSM. There's Seamus Powers. My Mackenzie Hughes that I'm high on. Got a bet on him, 200 to 1. Just trying to see. Where's Woods coming in? 5.6%. Reed, Bubba, Billy Hole. There's Straka, which I think is a pretty good play. JR. I'm just looking through some of the last guys. I think we covered all of them. All right. There's your ownership projections. Let's jump out and I'll kind of wrap this up for you guys. Okay, and if you missed yesterday, my top plays, I'm going to give you some other information that I already did, but I'm just, again, if it's the first time you're watching the show, you can real quick. The guys I like best below 7K, real fast. Gary Woodland, I think he's one of the best values in DFS at 6,900. Also, like I said, I like him for these kind of conditions. So excited about playing Gary in DFS. I already mentioned Cameron Young, even though he is a rookie. Ton of talent. Crashes the ball off the tee, pretty accurate, right? We saw him almost win at the Genesis. Of course, Bobby Mack, European player, also crushes the ball off the tee. Had what, a 12th here, a tied for 12th here last year. So interested in him. Tom Hoagie, I told you guys from the, I believe it's 150 to 175 proximity to the pin. He's led this year. He's been awesome with his irons. Of course, he had his win at AT&T Pebble Beach, which typically you're going to have some win there. If I remember correctly, though, it was not. It was very calm for that actual event. And then Matt Hughes. I mean, a little bit of this is I've just been on him, been waiting since he had the good showing. I believe that was at the Open where Kyle Morikawa won. I mean, that wasn't the huge thing. It's just his game should translate here. It's just what happens with the tee and the irons. I think the chipping and putting should be spot on. All right, and then real quick, one and done. I'm going to go through this really fast. Here's the guys over the last 5 years who's gained the most total strokes at Augusta. So you can see that list. I'm not going to go through it. And then the guys that I'm interested in playing a one and done, and I've been kind of flipping around, probably like you guys to some degree. I started with Rahm, and thinking about Cam Smith now. I don't know. And then now you got the wind kind of, the factor of the weather. So those are the guys that I'm interested in, of course. Rahm, Rory, DJ, JT, Xander, who typically always does well here, even though his game has not been super sexy. And then Cam Smith, of course, the winner at the Players, and he should do very well here. But sometimes that goes sideways. All right. Of course, you guys are probably waiting, and I forgot to state this off the bat. I'm going to announce the winners of my giveaway. And these are the guys or folks that randomly were selected. I think I had somewhere around 150-ish entries. So put those all into the random pick generator. I was going to record it, but I didn't think anybody wanted to sit and watch that thing spin. So here you go. I'm just going to go ahead and put the five folks, the five lucky winners. Congratulations. And hey, thank you guys, all of you, for giving me your inputs and for your picks. Very much appreciated. And thanks to all my longtime listeners. I saw all of you guys participating. But here you go. Here was the winners. Off the top, we had a Michelle Kate. Congratulations. Purple Rain, a Prince fan, I guess. Congratulations. Jimmy Bluffett. I like that. Very creative. Congratulations. Far From Par, cool name. And moving on up. So those were the top five. Well, the five that came out of the generator. I will notify you on through YouTube comments or through, back to your comment that you put in. And what I need is your PayPal email address, and you can send it to me at dfsgolfguru@gmail.com. But I also will make sure I put that in there. All right, with that said, I'm done with my shows for the Masters. I'm ready to start watching some Masters. Hopefully this weather gets out of here and we don't have any issues Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Hopefully nothing like the Players. We were very lucky all year. The Players was the first time we had a disruption in golf. And with that said, hey, if you guys would do me the honor, click that like button, share with anybody else. And for some odd reason, it's the first time you're watching, please subscribe. I do this for every tournament. I put 3 shows out this week, actually, because it was the Masters. I did 4, but typically it's always 3 shows. And hit me up on Twitter. I keep a very close eye on everything that could inflect or impact your DFS lineups. So, all right, guys. All the best to us. I hope we have a great. I've hit every winner except Hudson Swaffer at the Amex. Of course, I had JJ Spawn last week. Didn't see that, but he was in my top 20 picks. So yeah, let's keep it going. And hopefully, for me, I'm really rooting for Cam Smith, but that's going to be pretty tough to win the Players, as we know, and then of course win the Masters. But why not? All right, guys, have a great weekend. Talk to you later.